Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session of interview with this time with International Master Luciana Morales. I'm very excited to be interviewing her. Luciana has been playing chess for many years, and I'm really looking forward to hear about her own experience with getting into the game and what she's doing with chess these days. Luciana, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Um, could you
Thank you,
please?
Sabina. Excited to be here.
I'm very excited to have you as well. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your journey? What got you into chess? I know you're originally from Peru, so tell me how you got into the game of chess and how you got where you are today.
Sure. I I first got into chess when I was 6. My mom taught me to move the pieces. I understand that this is not a very typical story because normally it's a male relative who teaches you to play chess. In my case, it was my mom because for a long time she was obsessed with chess, even though she didn't get to play any tournaments in Peru. She really liked it. She started to be interested in it because of the boom that happened around the world when Bobby Fischer beat Boris Spassky. And when she had me, she just wanted to teach me, I guess, at some point. And so she did when I was 6, but at that time I was not very interested. I played a little bit, but it didn't really catch on. So I actually got really into chess 2 years later when I was in those summer camps. Um, at I was I was in a couple of summer camps. One of them was chess, and I really like the competitive nature of chess. I remember that at the time I was one of the youngest in the camp, and I was playing with the older girls who happened to be part of the school team already, and I was obviously defeated by all of them, and my reaction to that was that I wanted to beat them back at some point, and so I asked my mom to let me stay for longer. And also the trainer was actually very nice, and he allowed me to do that. So there was an hour for the younger girls, and then another hour for the more advanced girls. And so he let me stay for longer, and little by little, I started to play more. And also I remember that at that time, when you're interested in something, you see it everywhere. So I was more aware of just chess, maybe the checkerboard, the chessboard around. And um and then it was also something serendipitous. I think that the trainer of that summer camp was actually somebody very strong in Peru, one of the top players in Peru. He was an international master, Mario Belli. And so I happened to see him once in the newspaper. It was, they had published a picture of him along with a caption that said that International Master Mario Belli is preparing to play some tournament abroad, something like that. And I was still 8. And I remember telling my mom, Mama, I want to be like Mario. I want to be representing Peru, traveling abroad, um, coming out in the newspaper.
This is a
And
wonderful story, Luciana. Because
thanks.
first of all, I love that you didn't give up. It's always tough in the beginning when you first start to play chess. There's always this idea that you want to win, and you get into it, and you might lose a couple of games, but when you lose too many, you have the tendency, people have the tendency to be like, oh no, I don't want this anymore. I want to win. But you didn't give up. You really wanted to get better, and I love to hear your story that you let it came from you. Sometimes parents influence their kids. They tell them do this, do that, but I love to hear that it came from you, and you got inspired, and the part with the traveling is also wonderful. Um,
Thank you. Yeah.
so basically, he was the first, let's say, like influence that you had, like on chess.
Yes, definitely. I I want to say that I knew that he was a very good trainer, that he was a very good instructor, but I think that seeing him on the paper put put things into perspective for me, that he was actually somebody very accomplished, and it was really cool that I had that opportunity to be working with him. And um and also I remember that he was somebody who made chess really fun. I think that that's also very important, because sometimes we have this stereotype of the chess player being somebody very serious, very laconic, and he was somebody on the opposite hand of that. He was very eloquent, and he just made the classes really fun. And after that, I started also playing in tournaments. I'm from Lima, Peru, so the national federation was based in Lima, the capital. So there were a lot of tournaments nearby. I was able to play them. And speaking of newspapers, actually, I played a tournament. It was at the end of 1995, so I was still 8 years old. Everything happened when I was. Well, a lot of things happened, I think, when I was starting in chess at 8, and I wasn't the youngest in that tournament, but I was one of the youngest. And so the weekly column that talked about chess, they mentioned, that tournament, but they also mentioned that there were a couple of little girls that were so tiny, and so they like stole the show or something in those lines.
Nice.
And the author of that was a national master, and he had that column for many years. And that was my first appearance in the in a Peruvian newspaper. That I was, I was playing.
And then you were even more excited, probably, right? You were even more excited to play, get better, and play more, because you knew you would be the star, right? In a way, or?
Yeah, that was part of it. What attracted me from being a title player and from being a master and representing my country. There were more things to it. But yes, the part of the newspaper, yes, that one got out of the way fairly quickly.
Very nice. And how did you feel when you became a women international master?
That was a colorful year for me. I was 16, actually. So 8 years had passed since I had started, in my first tournaments. I was already a teenager. And at that time, I was the youngest woman international master in my country. I got that title because I won first place in the zonal tournament, the zone that corresponds to Brazil, Bolivia, and Peru. And at that time, I was also the first Peruvian woman to win this tournament. But also that year I had won the Pan American, so the Continental Championship for girls under 20. And the reason I say that it was a colorful year is because chess-wise, I got those accomplishments. In addition, I had also won the Pan American tournament for girls under 16. But also it was the year that my grandpa had passed away, and he was such a big figure in my childhood and in my teenage years. I had lived with my grandparents since I was very young, because my mom and my dad had split when I was very little. So it was a tough year, I think, and I think I got to channel a lot of those emotions into getting better at chess.
I know how that feels, and I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm really glad you were able to put yourself together, although even at such a young age, because when it happens a bit later in life that you lose someone dear, I think you are a bit more mature to understand what's going on. But I think when you're young and someone dear passes away, I think it must be much more difficult. So it is great to see that, to hear you say that you were able to kind of focus on something that you're passionate about. And Luciana, also I know that you are a mother, and I'm interested to find out how does it feel to be involved as a mother in the chess world? Is it difficult to balance when you are a student? You're balancing, being a student and continuing your chess, right? But now you're a mom and you're promoting chess. Could you tell me a little bit about how do you manage to do this? I know it's not easy.
Yeah, well, that's always a good challenge. That's always um, an interesting situation to be able to handle different aspects, not the professional life, maybe the family life. And I can tell you, yes, it was different. I remember when I was in college, I felt like I had so much time, to the point of while I was still in the chess team, I was also exploring, other extracurricular activities. I was in different clubs. I remember that I was in philosophy club, photography club. I was working in the students' newspaper, and
I
also
remember
somehow,
you're taking great pictures in the past. I remember. I think I have some pictures that you
oh,
took.
thank
Yeah, I
you.
remember
It feels
that.
like a past life. It feels like
Yeah.
so long ago. At some point, I would like to find my camera and again get into that mind frame. I remember that it was something that I enjoyed a lot, and
Hmm.
especially taking photos of people. I loved portraiture, and and I feel like even though I had my time in those clubs, I still had time to read a lot. I felt like when I was in college, I was able to read so much. And because since I was a child, I feel like I was reading a lot of literature, the classics. And then in college, I was also reading a lot. And now I feel like, time is so limited. I have my full-time job with Chessable. I have my mom duties. I also have, different activities. And however, since earlier this year, I have tried to also fit in some time for my reading, and I am very proud of that. But you're completely right. It's difficult to handle everything. I feel like you get to compromise a lot on the quality of work sometimes, because especially for somebody who, like me, I feel like I am very intentional about doing things well, like not half
Halfway, yeah.
halfway. Yes, I was going to say another word, but no, halfway.
Yeah, I think I know what you're gonna say.
and 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 now I know that it's, progress beats perfection. It's not it's better to just start something and do it, even though it's not up to your standards, than waiting for it to be perfect. Now I say this, and I know myself that I don't usually that there are instances where I don't abide by this. Like, for instance, in the past month or so, it's been taking me a while to put together some projects, some proposal, because I'm trying to fine tune it and make it perfect. But still, like, I mean, I'm trying to work on this. And being a mom specifically, I think that it's not only about the challenge of managing the time, but also about realizing that at some point my daughter is going to be immersed in some sport, in some discipline. No, right now, like, she's exploring her interests. She loves to dance flamenco, of all dances.
Oh,
uh, she loves to dance flamenco. She loves to paint. um, And because she sees me playing chess, she is also drawn to chess. She already knows the names of the pieces, and she's been, with the help of applications like Chess Kit, like she's learning some patterns. And something that blows my mind is that so for instance, she's very she knows how to do the back rank checkmate. She's 4 and she knows how to do the back rank checkmate, but she cannot move the knight yet. She doesn't know how to move the knight. So anyway, these are things that we're working on. And I know that at some point she's going to be very drawn to chess or maybe some other sports. But also, I mean, this realization comes with the acceptance that, okay, I'm going to be, on the other side. I'm going to be on a hot seat where I'm going to be a bit nervous about her results. Maybe not so much about the results, but also about how to handle that, no? Because, I mean, with this, the kids not only are learning chess in itself, but also they learn other valuable life lessons, no? And learning how to win, how to lose, learning to take responsibility for their decisions, even making decisions, even solving problems, all of these different things. So it's a bit daunting to get into this era, no? That not only, I think it surpasses a bit of that trainer, no? It takes it a bit a step further, because as a trainer, I think that you, of course, you're responsible for the progress of your student, but I think that as a grown up, as a parent, you're also you're responsible of the emotional side of how they get to adapt to the new life lessons. So I'm excited. I'm a bit daunted sometimes,
Nervous.
but so far, I mean, it's been lovely to see Catalina. My daughter's name is Catalina. See how she sees herself as a chess player. She thinks that, her mom, me, that I'm a chess player, but so is she. So it's really cute.
It's wonderful to hear that. I think we kind of owe it a bit to share our passions with our kids, maybe, and then I love to, based on your description, I love to hear that you are not going to be pushing her in any way. You'll let her explore what she likes, but of course, I think it's great to hear that she's interested in knowing what her mom was doing, and I'm sure with time she will learn more, and hopefully she'll be drawn to chess. But at least, as you said, she would just take the lessons from it, because chess has so much more to offer, other than this sometimes heartbreaking game that we often talk about. And since you mentioned earlier, Luciana, about you, you didn't really use the word perfectionist, but you're mentioning about how you want to do everything well. I was curious to know, because I know you have published Chessable course, and I was curious to know, how did you get involved into working with the platform with Chessable, and what motivated you to create the content, and how hard was it? If you could let us know.
Sure. So I actually started working in Chessable about a bit more than 3 years ago. It all started with the Queen's Gambit. I had watched it on Netflix. It really resonated, with me. I think with all of us chess players, especially women, to see that experience portrayed on the media. And I remember, at that time, I had a job that I really liked, but coming into my 4th year, I thought that I was ready for a new challenge. And watching these, it kind of reminded me of that passion that I had for chess, because, I mean, by this point, I had stopped playing tournaments for about a decade. I also had lost really contact with the chess world, because I I was not following any major tournament online. I was, I was really not connected to chess anymore. So that kind of rekindled something for me, and I told my husband, and he um, one day he looked for chess jobs online on Indeed, and he came up with a couple of them, and I applied to them. Also, I think that the first one that I heard back from was Chessable. So even though I did the interviews with the others, the one from Chessable kind of like was one of the first, and also the interview was with Geert van der Velde. He used to be the CEO of Chessable. At that time, he wasn't CEO yet, and I thought that him programming a 15-minute interview was a terrible sign. It was just, a check on the list, something that he could say like, yeah, I met her, not interested, thank you for your time, don't call us, we'll call you. So I wasn't really expecting anything, but I really liked him. I really liked that conversation. I thought that it was it showed that he was a very cool person, somebody that I would love to just chat more with. And then they did call me, and I started working there on with several roles actually. I mean, on a startup you usually wear many hats, and working there I realized that there was a lot of effort, there was a lot of high quality standards put into the creation of courses, that everybody was taking it very seriously, and I started getting curious about it. And so at some point I told Geert like, hey, I would like to be an author at some point. I just don't know what to write about. I feel that my strength is positional chess, but who is going to want to hear from me? I haven't played tournaments in a while. I've been very disconnected from chess. There's a huge time gap that has passed. And he's like, hey, why don't you write a course about the women's world champions? Kind of like Kasparov's, my great predecessors, but like with the women's, because we don't usually know about them. And I thought, what, great idea. And so that's really the origin of that. It was his idea, also his encouragement. Actually, going back to the point of being a perfectionist, it took me a very long time, because when we initially had these conversations, I feel like it was December of 2000, I don't know, but it was a December. Okay. And the idea was to have the course out by March. So like 4 months, 3-4 months after that. If I was quick enough, but no, I'm not very quick. So it wasn't until the next March that the publication actually happened. So I think it is a good example of how sometimes, when I take things very seriously, and if left to my own designs, I can take forever, because I'm like trying to make it perfect. So something that actually helped a lot was that I got to collaborate with Brian Tillis, National Master. He was a very experienced and prolific Chessable author by that time, and he was instrumental in moving the ship forward. He was he was incredible, and so we got to finish that course not just faster, but also I feel like he helped infuse it with that energy and know-how that I'm really proud of that. I know that it took me forever to do my part, which was researching the stories of the women's world champions, analyzing their games, and then I feel like when Brian got involved, like all of that got done much faster. He also like put a lot of original content and worked on a collection of curated tactics from their games. So it's actually so far I have published that one course on Chessable, but I would love to publish more. Of course, time if time permits. But it was really eye-opening, because from different aspects. For me, it was very fulfilling to learn about the women's world champions, because me myself, I wasn't that knowledgeable about them prior to this project. And on the other hand, I think it's one of the biggest projects that I have created so far. So it was something that I was very proud of.
I know you've recently taken part in this FIDE trainer seminar, and I was wondering if you could share with us what are your future goals, what are you trying to work for, and what was the reason that you got inspired to join the seminar and try to get the title? What's next for you in the promoting the world of chess in the world of chess?
Sure. So that's true. I recently completed training with Melixel Hachian Academy for FIDE instructor title. And well, the motivation for that is that I want to develop my credentials and my skills as a trainer. I've been a player for a long time, but also I'm entering, this era where I am more mature, and it's as part of my passion for chess. I think it's also time to look into ways to grow chess, and one such way is to share the knowledge, share the know-how, inspire other people, other youth, empower also other people through chess. And earlier this year, I got the wonderful opportunity to be part of the Women in Chess Foundation Chessable Scholars initiative. This is a program that is happening for the first time this season. And typically, I've been part of programs like this, but more from an administrative position, more from like a coordinator side. But in this occasion, I was also involved as a trainer. And what I was really grateful for was the opportunity to work with girls from all around the world. In my cohort, there are 6 scholars, 6 girls from countries like Mexico, Kenya, Scotland, Morocco. And the girls are brilliant, by the way. It's such a pleasure to work with them. And an aspect that was very inspiring to me was that Artur Yusupov, the well-known coach, top coach, one of the, best coaches in the world, he was the one handling the top group, the higher rated group. And so to see my name, in conjunction, like collaborating with him in that capacity was mind-boggling to me. And also like it kind of put things into perspective. And I was like, no, you know what? I need to improve myself. I need to really live up to the hype. And a bit of that imposter syndrome, and like
I see.
I need to be better. I need to I started working on that certification, but also I've been looking into, just in general material about how to do this educational part in a more effective way. So one of my projects right now as chess promoter would be like to advance my training skills, but also I'm currently looking into other chess related projects. So I actually have advanced this already. Along with a friend, we're writing a children's book
Oh,
about chess.
nice.
Yes, yes, that's very. I am. I don't know. I get all joyful thinking
It
about it.
is. It is exciting. It is. We need more. We need more. Tell us. Can you share any insights on how it's gonna be like, or?
Yes, of course. So, obviously, the first inspiration for this was that story time that I have with my daughter every day. We love to
Hmm.
read, and so she loves reading story books with me. And I thought, like, what would be really cool that she gets to see a storybook about, what it is to start in chess, or maybe even, about myself, about my story. And I thought it was really cool to put chess in that line that it connects generations, no? So in my case, my mom taught me to play chess. I played chess, and now I am going to teach her to play chess. So I thought that that should be like one of the components of the book, to have like those generations
Nice.
connected through chess. And also, of course, the idea that chess is for everyone. Ideally, I would like to publish this next year in August or September. So
Awesome.
that's the goal. Yeah.
Awesome. So if you're watching this interview, be sure to save this, just to save it on your calendar. Let me be ready for, around August, and start looking for Luciana's book. I'm looking forward to reading it once you publish it, Luciana, because I always think it's great to see new chess stories and new books for kids that also are also written from like women's perspective. I think there's this there are two or three books about how to play with your dad, but I don't think I've seen some how to play chess, or how to beat your dad at chess, I think it's called. I don't think that I've seen with moms sharing the stories, so I'm really looking forward to it. So hopefully everyone does as well. And Luciana, we've kept our audience waiting for a long time. It was really wonderful to hear your story, but I also want the audience to know about your chess. And you have shared with us a really a game that you won, your first victory against an international master. Could you tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll get started when you want?
Yes, of course. So this is a game that I played in Sao Paulo in Brazil. Brazil is one of my favorite countries, and Sao Paulo is one of my favorite cities in the whole world. I feel like it's very similar to my hometown in some aspects, and I just have felt great playing there. The people at the um, in Sao Paulo have always been very welcoming. And so this is a close tournament. I was not the lowest rated player, but I think I was one of the lowest rated players. And in this game in particular, I'm playing with an international master from Brazil. He's not at his, peak rating at that time. He's in the 23s, 170 something. Um, Also, I'm not at my peak rating, but I'm like 2140 something at that time. And so I played d4. At this time, I was playing more positional, so I was starting with this. So d4. I mean, the opening went by pretty normal. I played this. I wasn't really one to learn many opening variations by heart, and so I typically learned sidelines, and I was happy to exit the opening, um, you know.
So you
So
kind of you
yes,
kind of set up some kind of call list system at the beginning, and see
yeah.
what he does. And by the way, for the audience, they might not see the names. I just want to say that your opponent's name was International Master de Souza Mauro Guimares. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Mhm.
And yes,
Yeah, so this is not the London, but
it's not.
but at some point there will be a bishop f4. So knight c3. I mean, so far, like, I'm playing very principled pieces towards the center, because that's where they have more possibilities. And she's also playing, developing normal moves. Queen
Yeah, and
e2, knight c6.
I like your development. I mean, you're occupying the center, and everyone who watches this, regardless of their level, right? They can learn a lot of what's important to do when you first start, right? You put a pawn in the center, and even if you didn't get the second one, that's okay. You got your pieces out, right? And he didn't. Your opponent did not play d5.
That's true. That's true. He has delayed the move d5, although he's, continued to develop. And here I played a3 because I just wanted to avoid any knight before. I felt that my bishop on d3 was quite powerful. It was putting some pressure on h7. It's not very visible right now because, there's no other piece accompanying that. But also, it has some activity on the queen side. So we needed to preserve that bishop there. A3 was preventing any knight before. He continued. He didn't play this d5. He went for d6. I think he wanted to keep the big diagonal open for his bishop. The other thing is that d5 also maybe leaves e5 unattended. But in any case, the d6, and I continue to develop. Notice it continues to be all very principled, no roots to the semi-open lines or to the center. And here he played rook e8. I think like around this point I start to think that maybe he doesn't have a plan yet, and that's kind of reassuring for me, because being the lower rated player, I felt, I think up until this point, I felt that typically when I was playing with somebody higher rated, I was a bit intimidated. But noticing that perhaps there wasn't a clear plan for my opponent, was like, okay, well, then maybe I need to at some point fight for the initiative myself and make things happen. So
very nice. I love to hear, Luciana. I love to hear that you gain confidence, because that's important. I think us women sometimes we play someone stronger and we just feel like, oh no, they're stronger. But the confidence that you get when you see, wait a second, they don't know as much as I thought that they knew. Let me try to, play the game, right? Because after all, it's just you and the opponent. So nobody's gonna help them. If they mess up, and you can get them, right?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's, in general, this wasn't the first time that I played an international master, and it wasn't the last, right? So yes, there were other occasions, and also I have played grandmasters. I think in general, when I play such, it's not far-fetched that I get sometimes intimidated. So yes, I definitely hear you on that. Yeah, so a6, and then I played knight e4, because I felt that, I needed to start migrating my pieces towards the king side. The knight on f6 in particular plays such an important role on the king side, because it's practically the only one defending that at this moment. So knight e4, the idea was to remove that knight from f6. And knight a5, I feel like this was very inaccurate. And I remember thinking during the game that, yeah, this confirms that my opponent doesn't have a plan, or maybe he's completely underestimating me. But in any case, I'm going to make the best out of this opportunity. So when he plays knight a5, I played knight eg5. Later on, I learned with the engine that perhaps it was more effective to capture on f6 first. Knight takes f6, bishop f6, and then h4.
Oh.
Something like that, yeah.
Something with knight g5 and queen h5 and some attacks.
Yes. Maybe. Yes. At that time, I didn't play that. I felt that I needed to just attack on f7, because the fact that he had moved his rook away from f8 meant that I had some opportunities there. No, knight f7, knight g5, queen e6. So I started to put pressure already on those squares. And here he makes like a terrible mistake. He trades bishop takes f3, and I rationalize this, I justify this, thinking that, many times when we are under attack, a good reaction is to maybe try to trade some pieces. And perhaps that's what happened to him. He thought that maybe by trading a couple of pieces, by trading this knight in particular, he was preventing, any possible attack with knight takes f7, knight g5. But the problem with this is that it improves the position of the queen. So I capture with the queen, and then in the next move, it's gonna be clear why this contribution to the betterment of the queen is gonna be bad for him, because after he plays his move, I think he played g6. No, you're right. He played b5. I played queen h3. And so the queen from there is beautifully placed. It's putting pressure on h7, but also on a6. And so there is already a very concrete threat of knight takes f7. And I also would like to point out that that maneuver taking the queen to h3 is a theme that I later happened to see in a couple of Betamatrix games, where she moves the queen to h3 to continue building up on her attack.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to something that you said. I like how you reminded everyone about trading pieces when the opponent attacks you, but you cannot just trade any kind of pieces. You need to trade those that really attack you, not those that don't, right? Your knight in f3 wasn't really attacking him yet. So he, instead of trading, like, okay, it wasn't easy, but instead of, for example, trying to trade this knight, he ended up trading one that brought a new piece for you. So learn to trade the right pieces when you're trying to defend.
Yeah, definitely. And so after g6, we have this position where all of the white pieces have been developed. Most of them are dangerously placed in the sense that they are all targeting the king side. And on the other side, black's pieces are still behind. There's a couple of pieces that haven't developed yet, but there is also a very dislocated knight on a5. So that knight is not only far away from his pieces, but also like not doing much. I mean, it is, of course, doing something on the queen side, but at this moment, it's more important what is happening on the king side, because that's where their king is. And
now
at this point, yes,
at this point, if the audience are watching, they should pause the video, right, and try to find your best move. Because you have a great move here, Luciana. I'll let you say it.
Yes, actually, so now it is a great time to pause the video and think about what would you do with white? How do you continue this? And spoiler alert, it's a move. It's the first of a series of moves that made me really proud. So
how far ahead did you calculate when you played this move? How do you remember?
Yes, because I was thinking that, okay, I do that and the opponent can play what he played in the game, right? And try to get into an end game with maybe a pawn down, but at least he has survived, right? So I thought that after their next move, I needed to find something stronger, and I actually found it. And so I actually calculated like the whole thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we show it?
Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go. All right. Rook takes e6. Brilliant move.
Yes, your grandpa rook. as
you know how chess. That's right. And like chess.com always shows like these double exclam brilliant.
Yes.
my students are always so excited. Like, I played a brilliant move in this game, and it's not really so great, but Chessable says it, so you gotta encourage them. But no, this is really, really nice, because that capture cannot happen, because you're gonna have you're gonna have some mates here.
Yes, and after king h6 or king h8, knight e6 ends the game.
Yeah, h3 or e6, and then that king will be mated, bishop e2 and queen h7, right?
Yes, so he couldn't capture right away, and he played queen c8. So of course, removing the rook takes us to an endgame with a pawn up, which should be, enough. However, there is something even stronger. I did I did think about it prior to playing Rook E6, but still, when this happened, I was looking at it again to make sure that everything was correct. So the second move in this series of good moves is, I don't know if it's both an intermediate move or a blockage, but yeah, I guess it can work as both. It's bishop f5, yes. And the idea is that they cannot capture on e6 because then we capture with the bishop and we win the queen. And now we are threatening to move the rook, whether it's rook f6 or rook e7, but basically rook f6 because we really want to capture on h7, and the knight at this moment doesn't let us do that.
And
So he played knight h5, yeah, blocking the queen and the pawn on h7, or intercepting the queen's action on h7. The issue is that this now allows a discovery check. No, rook takes g6, and it's followed by bishop takes c8, and then g4. Once again, the knight cannot move because queen h7 followed by queen f7 checkmate. So they have to move the knight, but back to f6.
oh, sorry.
And yeah, I played c3, and then the game ended a couple of moves later. But I was yeah, actually,
You
that's
finished off. You finished off with the final sacrifice.
yeah. Well, I returned the queen
Mm-hmm.
because I was entering into an endgame with 2 pawns more, but also their pieces were just so badly located. So I thought that that's a position that I'm going to win no matter what. And yes, the position with the queen was great, but I'm also going to win this. I mean, in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I should have kept the queen because the advantage was so much larger. But I think that sometimes you just have to make a decision based on what you feel comfortable with. And for me, it was like, I am positionally so much better. Also, I have more material. I'm winning this no matter what. And he resigned shortly after that. So I think there.
Very nice game, and yeah, it's true. At the end, if you're winning, not all attacks end up with mates. No matter how brilliant the ideas are, sometimes the opponent can put in the best defense possible. But the important thing is to be able to get into a position that you are going to be able to convert the advantage that you have gained through that attack, I think. And you always want to do something that's more comfortable to you. Because when we play, we don't have access to anyone helping us to choose the best possible line. So choosing the one you're the most comfortable with without giving too much counterplay, of course, to the opponent, I think that's the best you can get. So I really love this game, and I hope our audience has enjoyed it as well, Luciana. I cannot tell you how excited and thankful I am that you made time for us for this interview. We have decided. I approached Brian some time ago, telling him I'm interested in doing various interviews with highlighting careers of women in chess, and you are our second guest, and we had a great time, and I hope to be able to continue doing these for those who are watching. We're trying to post one every month, and we did it last minute, Luciana. I know last time we were supposed to record, you got a little bit sick. I'm glad you are fine, and we did it in the last few days of this month, so it's gonna go out, and everyone can enjoy it, and let us know what you think, who else you want to see next. As for you, Luciana, I think I asked you everything. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Nothing that I can think of. Sabina, thank you so much for your time and for this delightful conversation. I mean, it's been great to chat with you, and you know what? Yes, and we I feel like we have similar experiences. No, I mean, you also um, participated in the collegiate action in the collegiate chess scene, and uh, nowadays we're both. In the US, but we are from other countries, and yeah, I think it's so cool, no, that chess brings together all of these stories and all of us from different parts of the world, and that we continue to to grow and make chess grow.
Yeah, and support each other. I think
Yes.
that's a tough part sometimes because there weren't so many opportunities for women for a long time, but now things are looking up a bit more, and also great to see you're working for Chessable. I just wanted to give a shout out for having you because you're just amazing and very creative, and I hope that they're proud to have you working for them because you know we want to see more females having roles in various chess organizations. So thank you to Chessable too and to you for being here, and yeah, looking forward to more of these exciting opportunities to connect women from different backgrounds that use chess as a means to continue their growth and other girls' growth.
Yes, thank you so much for your words. And yes, that's right. Shout out to Chessable. I love Chessable. I feel like it's really my dream job.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.